Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball, the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers that are drawing on November 27th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategies 1 and 2, the game card color code, and the 50-50 picks. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize at the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 28, 35, 38, 61, and 66. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and now I'm going to find out what colors they were. So the 28 was red, the 35 was orange, the 38 was orange, the 61 was green, and the 66 was red. So I'm going to color these in. So again, the 28 and 66 were red. The 35, 38 were orange, and the 61 was green. So now I'm going to count how many colors I have. So I got 2 red, 2 green, 2 red, 2 orange, and a green for 3 colors total. So up here, I'm going to make this 391 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 3 color combination has now come up 205 times. Okay, so if you do some quick math and divide 205 into 391, you're going to see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. So I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. So my color code is right here. Here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and whatever's left over is purple. So basically what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers, I divided it by 5 colors, and that's 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. And that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color. So again, I'm going to start in with the red numbers, and the reason why it's the last 3 drawings is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the 28, the 35, 38, 61, and 66. The next line down is the 7, 15, 39, 40, 57. And the last line is the 14, 22, 26, 55, and 63. So again, I'm going to make these red. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So over here I got 4, and over here is 5 for 9, 1 is 10, and 5 are 15. So up here, I'm going to make this 15. Up here tells me of how many of each color I have on the game card. So moving on to the orange area, I'm going to start with the 23. You can see that the 26 is already taken, so I'll move to the 27. The 28 is taken, and the 66 is taken. So the next line down is the 14. That's taken. So the 17 is open. So the 35 is taken. The 38 is taken. So the 60. The next line down is the 15 is taken. The 28 is taken. So the 46, 62, and 64. And the last line is the 3. The 23 is taken. So the 32, 37, and 58. And again, I'm going to make these orange. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So over here I got 3 and 2 are 5, 2 are 7, 2 are 9, and 2 are 11. So up here I'm going to make this 11. So I think you understand how I came up with the colors for my game card. So what I'm going to do is just to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like for November 27, 2019. Again, there was 15 red numbers, 11 orange, turned out to be 18 green, 16 blue, and 9 purple numbers. So again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. So that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up, and that's what I want to focus on here. So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers. So the strategy here is to correctly guess what color group will not be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. So I want to point out that all 5 colors do come up. It's come up 13 times out of 391 drawings. Okay, so it comes up, but it's very rare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what color group will not be coming up. And to help me make a decision, I'm going to turn to the next strategy called the 50-50 picks. So what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of this and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay? So how I use this 50-50 picks is I kind of use it like a roadmap to what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to update this real quick. So the first thing I'm going to do is make this 432. This is 432 drawings I kept track of so far. And basically this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to find out what numbers came up. So I got an even, odd, even, odd, even. So 3 even numbers, 2 odds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the majority, which was the even. So I'm going to highlight this, the blue. And I'm going to make this 206. Okay, so out of 432 drawings, 226 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers, and 206 drawings have been the majority of even numbers. So what I do here is I break things down into 5 again, so it will show me that majority. Okay, so out of this 5 drawings, you can see the majority was even numbers, 4 drawings to 1. And as I go back to the last 20 drawings, you can see that the majority has been odds, okay? So what I'm going to do is my prediction is that I think that more even numbers are going to come up than odds. So I'm going to write that down just to remind myself what I picked. And again, I think more even numbers will come up than odds. So moving on to the next one, I got this high and low. So all the numbers in blue are considered low, all the red numbers are considered high. So looking at this in the last, 5, 10, 15, 20, last 20 drawings have been the majority to the low side. So I'm going to predict that more numbers are going to come up to the high side here. So I'm going to write that down as well. More numbers to the high area, this red area, okay? So when I go to eliminate numbers, I'm going to be looking to this blue area to get rid of numbers, okay? So moving on to the left and right, as I go back into the history of things, you can see that the right side has been really hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that this is going to jump back to the left. So I think more numbers are going to be over here to this left side than the right. So again, I'm going to write that down. And the last one I got is this red and blue area. And looking at this, you can see that red has been really hot. And overall, it's been really hot, 234 drawings to 196 drawings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that more numbers are going to be in this blue area than the red. So I'm going to write that down as well. More to the blue than the red. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make that prediction on what color group will not be coming up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that no orange numbers are going to come up. Okay, so you can see with the orange numbers, again, I think more numbers are going to be in this area right here, the red and blue area. So I'm going to get rid of all these orange numbers. So when I block out numbers like this means that I'm not even going to consider these numbers when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. So in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these orange numbers will come up in the next drawing. So if I'm correct with my bet and none of these orange numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. So basically what I did is I took all 69 numbers and I divided it into 7 different groups. So here's group number 1. It holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Of course, this is the only group with 9 numbers where the other 6 have 10 numbers to it. Okay, so let me go over this with you. Here's the winning Powerball numbers. Okay, and basically what happened, it hit 3 out of the 7 groups. Okay, so as I scroll down here, you can see that the 28 is red. So I'm going to follow this plane to the 28. And you can see that I made this square red because the 28 was red. Okay, so let me reduce this down so you can see the whole card. So I'll remind you again that there's 7 groups here, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how you read this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, now the reason why I like to break it down into 5 is for a couple reasons. Usually I like to do it to see the majority. But here, I do it for a couple reasons. When I go back into the history, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5, or vice versa. Okay, so again, I'm going to make a prediction on what group will not be coming up, and I decided to go with this group of 10 through 19. Okay, so I'm hoping that none of these numbers will come up. So I'm going to go back to the game card and I'm going to eliminate these numbers off of the game card. Okay, but before I do, we're all going to look at this differently. Okay, but the reason why I'm picking this is that when I go back into these groups here, you can see that out of this 5 drawings, 4 numbers came up, and then 3, and then 5, 4. Okay, so it's been pretty hot. So it's been 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 drawings that these numbers at 10 through 19 have been really hot. So I'm just kind of hoping that it's going to go on a cold streak and not come up for a couple drawings. Okay, so that's why I'm picking this. So again, I'm going to go back to the game card. I'll blow this up first. And now I'm going to get rid of the numbers of 10 through 19. Okay, so I'm going to block those out. Okay, so again, if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then the highlighted numbers, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be within these highlighted numbers here. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all 69 numbers and divided it into 4 different color groups. So when the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers come up, I record where they land within these colors down here in the stats. Okay, so the last drawing, the 28 came up, so that's in red. The 35 is in orange. The 38 is in green. The 61 is in green. And the 66 is in blue. Okay, so again, I had one in the red, the 28. I had one in the blue, the 66. I had one in the orange, the 35. And I had two in the green, the 38 and 61. And when that happens, I call this a row. That represented all four color groups. So if there's a hit, I color the background red for hot. And if there's a miss, like this last drawing, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where one of these blue marks are going to come up. Okay, so in the last drawing, if I could have correctly guessed that no blue numbers were going to come up, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a prediction on what group, on where a zero is going to be. So I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each different option card. So I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction on where I think that zero is going to be. And I'm going to go with this right here, option card number 7, no green numbers. So the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this differently, but you can see that a 1 comes up a lot, okay, for some reason, all right? So as I look at this green area, if this is a 0 right here, then I'm going to be putting a 1 right here for a streak of 1. So here's a streak of 8 right here, okay? So as I go down through this green area, you're going to see that a 1 hasn't come up in a long time. And here it is right here, okay? So as I move up with the other columns, you can see a 1 has come up plenty of times in the other columns, okay? And it hasn't come up in this green one in a long time. So I'm going to predict that it's going to happen here. So I'm going to get rid of all these green numbers because I don't think that they're going to come up. Okay, so I got the 4 corners over here, then the middle, 34, 35, 45, 69. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 8 as well, and I'll explain in a second. And I'm also going to get rid of the 53 as well. So hopefully none of those numbers come up. Okay, so as you look at my game card here, you can see that there's 5 numbers over here to the left. And as I go back to this group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here to the left. Okay, so what I wanted was this grid of 8 squares across, 8 squares down, but that's only good for 64 numbers. And there's 69 in the lottery. So what I decided to do was pair a couple of these squares up. Like the 8 shares the square with the 66. The 19 with the 67, the 25 and the 65, the 53 and the 69, and the 58 and the 68. Okay, so if I get rid of all these green numbers like I'm doing, then I'm going to get rid of the 8 and the 66 along with all these other green numbers as a group. So this is my way of grouping up numbers, all right? So the next one I'm going to pick is option card 13, no orange numbers, okay? So the reason why I'm picking this one is because you can see that here's a single blue mark, okay? And sometimes these blue marks, they double or even triple up. Now here in this orange area, there's 25 of these single blue marks. So I'm hoping that it's due to double up like right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of all these orange numbers, and that's the 5, 7, 14, 16, that pattern all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 7, the 21, the 30, the 39, the 55, and that is it. Okay, so again, hopefully none of those numbers will come up. Okay, so if I made all the correct picks so far, then that means that the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are still left here on my game card and on one of these highlighted numbers. Okay, so I just have to assume that I'm correct so far. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the next strategy called strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. So much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different color groups, here I divided things into 8 different color groups. Okay, so it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers. All right, except with this one, I know that there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and there's 8 of these color groups. So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what color group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm just going to update this one as well. Okay, so the winning numbers were the 28, that's in green. The 35 is in orange. The 38 is in brown. The 61 is in purple. And the 66 is in yellow. So I always like to read things left to right. So I got the orange, green, purple, brown, yellow. So down here in current, there was no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. No winning Powerball numbers in the blue. Of course, there's one in that orange, the 35. There's one in the green, the 28. There's one in the purple, that's 61. There's one in the brown, that 38. There's no winning Powerball numbers in the gray, and there's one in the yellow. So it hit 5 groups, okay? Orange, green, purple, brown, yellow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this 5 green because the majority is on the right side here, okay? So the purple, brown, and yellow will make the majority on the right side, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on where I think the 0 is going to be. Now, to help myself out, make a decision, what I like to do is break things down into 5 so it shows me that majority. So here, out of this first 5 drawings in the red area, you can see that the majority was misses, 3 drawings to 2. And when that happens, I colored the background blue for cold. So the next drawing, the next 5, you can see that the majority was hits, so I colored the background red for hot. Now, the reason why I do that is because when I see something like here, where it's been really, really hot, well, I know it's going to cool down eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. So my prediction is that a 0 is going to be right here in the purple area. Okay, so you can see how hot this purple has been. And now I'm hoping that it's going to go on a blue streak like right over here. So I'm hoping this 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of all these purple numbers. And the purple runs from the 5 down to the 61. So I'll see what's left. And it's the 61, so I'll get rid of that. And hopefully that 61 does not come back up. Okay, so moving on to option card number 2. Again, I have 15 of these option cards. And they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. So again, with option card number 2, I decided to go with no blue. So here's the blue, and as I scroll down through, you're going to see that things got pretty hot down through here. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers, the 9 over to the 66. So I'll get rid of that 9. Now, another reason why I'm picking that is, again, back to the 50-50 picks here. Again, I thought more numbers were going to be to the high side in this red area than the low. So when I picked that blue one, I knew that it was in the low area, so that's another reason why I picked it. Okay, so moving on. Option card number 3, I'm going to go with red. So here's the red area. And as I scroll down through, you're going to see that things got really hot through here. And now I'm hoping that it's going to start to cool down with a 0 here. So I'll get rid of all these red, and that's the 4 to the 28 and the 37 to the 61. So I'll get rid of these three numbers, the 4, 20, 28. Hopefully those numbers do not come up. So moving on to 4, I decided to go with gray. So here's the gray. You can see how hot this has been. So I'm hoping that it's going to go on a cold streak here. And I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers that runs from the 17 to the 20 and the 69 to the 56. So I'll get rid of this 54. Hopefully that number does not come up. Okay, off to 5. Again, I have 15 of these option cards, so I'm almost done. So with this one, I'm going to go with purple. You can see how hot things have been here. So I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'll get rid of these purple numbers, which is this, 4 squares in the middle. So here the 25 shares the square with the 65. So I'm going to get rid of both of those numbers. Again, that's how I grouped it up. So moving on to 6, I decided to go with orange. So here's the orange. You can see how hot things have been through here. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. Now this is the 5, 14, 21, 30 all the way down. And there's nothing to get rid of. Okay, so here I just want to point out that, I have 15 of these option cards, and the averages come out to right around the same on every drawing, it seems like. So what I'm trying to say here is that on average for all 15 option cards, 4 of these color groups are going to have a miss to it, and 4 of these color groups are going to have a hit to it. Okay, so I picked orange. There's nothing to get rid of. There is no numbers to get rid of. Now let's just say for argument's sake that I got this correct. So if I come back for another one, like here in this red, if I say, I got this orange one correct, now I come back for this red, the odds go way, way up that I'm going to get this wrong. So I designed this to move on to the next option card where I have that 50-50 guess again, okay? So here with option card 7, I decided to go with brown. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, the 1, 10, 3, 12, all the way across. And there's nothing to get rid of, so I'm going to move on. To option card 8, I decided to go with red, so here's the red. You can see how hot things have been here, so I'm hoping for a cool down. So I'm going to get rid of these red numbers. And basically it comes down to the 31 and the 63. So it was the 5, 16, 21, 31. So I'll get rid of the 31 and 63. Hopefully those numbers do not come up. So moving on to 9, I decided to go with blue. So here's the blue. You can see how hot this has been. So I'm hoping for a cool down here with the 0 right there. So I'm going to get rid of the 2, 27, the pattern on the left side, and 16, 21 pattern on the right side. So I'll get rid of the 2. Hopefully that number does not come up. Moving on to 10, I decided to go with gray. So here's the gray. You can see how hot this has been. And now I'm hoping for a cool down here. So I'm going to get rid of the pattern of 1728 in all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 49. Hopefully that number does not come up. Okay, so moving on to 11. Again, I have 15 of these, so I'm almost done. So here I decided to go with red. You'll see how hot this red has been. Okay, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of the 6, 14, 17, 65, 35, 43, 56, 64. So I'll get rid of the 6 and the 43. Again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. So here for 12, I'm going to go with red again. So here's the red. And it's got pretty hot down through here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of this crescent moon of the 5 to the 29 and the 33 to the 57. So I'll get rid of the 22, the 33, 42, 50, and 57. So that knocked out 5 numbers, so hopefully those numbers did not come up. Now 13, I decided to go with gray, so here's the gray. You can see how hot things have been here, so I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. And here's that crescent moon again, the 5 to the 66 and the 33 to the 36. So I'll get rid of that 36. Hopefully that does not come up. Okay, so I got 2 more. I got 14 and 15. So 14, I'm going to go with gray. You can see how hot things have been here in this gray, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of the 24 and the 41. Okay, so that will leave me with 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So my last pick with option card 15, I decided to go with blue. So here's the blue. You can see how hot things have been. And I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these blue, the 4 to the 65 and the 40 to the 61. So I'll get rid of the 40 and the 47, and hopefully those numbers do not come up. So that will bring me down to 5 numbers. So I'm going to go with the 26, the 38, the 44, 51, and 52. So I'm just going to highlight these. And again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 26, 38, 44, 51, and 52. So, you know, I think Sherlock Holmes said it the best when he said it's a matter of deduction. So if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then these highlighted numbers have to come up. So now it comes to, what are the odds that I made all the correct picks? Let me go over the official odds. Okay, so to get all 5 white balls and the red ball correct, the grand prize, the odds are 1 in 292 million that you'll get it correct. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct, and what I mean by that is that the game is geared up for the white balls. I love to win the grand prize, okay? The odds are 1 in 11,688,000. So in other words, you can make nearly 12 million 5-number combinations out of 69 numbers, okay? So I don't want to give any kind of illusions that this is going to be easy to win, okay? So another great prize to win would be 4 white ball numbers and a red ball. That pays $50,000 plus the power play if you play it. So the odds are just about 1 in a million on that. Okay, so you can see that the odds are pretty steep. So just to give you some perspective, you know, if you were to spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week, you would spend $312 per year on the lottery. So I do have something for the Powerball number itself. Okay. If you hit the Powerball number, you win $4 plus the power play, okay? So basically there's 26 numbers. So over here in this column, I just divided the numbers in 2. So if you see a blue number, that's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that's high, 14 to 26. Over here in this column, if you see a red number, that's odds. If you see a blue number, that's evens. So the reason for the colors is, if I see a streak of blue like this, well, I know eventually it's going to turn red. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. So here, looking at this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that this is going to be a blue number, and I think that this is going to stay red. So I think that the Powerball number is going to be a low odd number, okay? So we'll see what happens. Now this green thing right here, This tells me that the Powerball repeated. You can see that the 3 came up and then it repeated. Okay, so in closing, I want to thank you for watching. If you would like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.